We are live now.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Good evening. RSMDACC Arts and Commerce College welcomes you all to this certificate course in creative writing. Creativity is the natural expression of your enthusiasm. And instead of thinking out of the box, I think we should just get rid of the box. Creativity is nothing but a mind set free. So today we have an extremely talented person, an erudite scholar, poet, writer, and linguist, Dr. Bishakha Das. Dr. Bishakha Das hails from Assam and presently resides in Delhi, is a writer and a poet, but particularly a linguist who specializes in the documentation of endangered and lesser known languages. Very interesting. She attends several national and international seminars on languages and linguistics and has number of research papers to her credit. She did MPhil in linguistics from Delhi University and PhD in linguistics from Jawaharlal Nehru University. She has certifications in Chinese and French languages. Nice. Her passion for writing, creative writing, brought her to the literary domain. Her first poetry reflection was in French. Soon she was selected for recitation by a non-profit organization, Poetry Across Cultures, to perform in the Embassy of the Republic of Serbia. Herein started her literary journey. The Asian Literary Society gave her a literary position as an ambassador. Her
No,
poems and articles,
administrator. As an administrator.
yeah, administrator. Yeah, that's what I said. Her poems and articles are published in many anthologies and journals. Most of her write-ups are published from Impish Lass Publishing House, and her pen particularly expresses non-fiction writings. Some are Few She's Bossy. In her anthology, Yes Boss, Preservation of Indigenous Languages for Conservation of Biodiversity. In the anthology, Color the World Green, etc. But her writings mostly reflect her life, as in The Motivating Force in the anthology, The Teacher I Will Never Forget. She fights breathlessness in the anthology, The Trying Times, A Step to Spiritual Life, Lockdown Memoir, in the anthology, Lockdown Diaries, etc. She has taken few years of training in Indian classical music, that is Mohan Veena, from Ravi Shankar Institute of Music and Performing Arts, New Delhi. Wow, what an interesting, yes, you've done so many interesting things. Madam, you are an MA and PhD in linguistics, but how did you fall in love with languages?
Actually, I have an imaginative mind, I believe,
Uh-huh.
and I did not realize that someday I'll become a writer. I simply I simply started writing, uh, just like the way I talk, expressing things. I started writing letters actually to my father,
Okay,
who used
since
to
when?
stay
Uh,
in my childhood days,
okay.
because he used to stay in a different place.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because he was a scientist and he was staying in a research station which was
Mm-hmm.
little remote. So we stayed in a different other place in the city.
Yeah.
So I used to write letters to my father. This way I started creative writing.
Okay.
And this is one thing. And then I used to write greetings. Like we used to make greetings for our friends.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So my elder sister, she used to draw very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
She had a talent for drawing sketches. My mother used to say, it is important to write properly inside.
Yes,
That
yes.
counts a lot.
Uh-huh.
So the writing part I used to do, writing greetings and writing letters. This way I started.
Oh,
And then I started writing. This way I started writing, and even a poem, the first poem, which was published in a journal, that was also greetings.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
Greetings. Okay, this way it started. And then all my writings are reflections of my life.
Wow. Yes, yes,
And whatever ideas I have, how I see the world, it's all about
yes,
that. I
yes.
believe, if I speak about my life, the young viewers can understand. It is so
Yes.
simple. Start
Yeah.
creative writing. Why? Because it is just like writing a diary. It is just like what I think I write.
Yes.
There should be a
Yes.
little rhythm.
Yes.
Of course, it is a good idea to be a voracious reader, but my life, I did not lead a normal life during my childhood.
Okay.
Excuse me. I had a problem, breathlessness problem.
Okay.
I'm a chronic asthmatic,
Oh.
and because of this breathlessness problem during my childhood, I did not lead a normal life. Like I was not able to go to school regularly. I
Oh.
was not able to play,
Yes. Yes.
and like even I was not able to sleep properly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was always having this spasm,
Mm-hmm.
always having this problem. Probably the humid climate of Assam did not suit my
Yes.
health.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but I'm still having this problem. But now I'm leading a normal life.
Oh.
So I was never a voracious reader. I could not be a voracious reader.
Okay.
So during my exams, my mother used to read for me,
Okay.
and this way I used to prepare for exams.
Oh.
Like I was not able to read and prepare myself properly. She used to read. I used to listen to it, and this way I used to prepare for exams.
Oh.
This was one thing, and the second problem was I had a corneal opacity on my right eye.
Oh.
So I have only one eyesight, proper eyesight.
Oh my God.
So this is
Yes.
hazy.
Okay.
Okay. So even today, I could not be a voracious reader.
Okay.
It is so important actually to be a writer, to
Yes.
do creative
Yes.
writing.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I read, but I'm not a voracious reader because my health doesn't permit me to. Okay. But academics forms a bigger domain of my life, an essential part of my life. Academics.
Yeah.
And this is the reason, like I pursued my research studies in linguistics. Okay. But
It's
even
very
today,
creditable. It's very creditable. Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
You have done your PhD. You have done you have worked so hard.
yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I have done. I had interest in literature, English literature. That's why in my graduation I had English honors.
Okay.
Okay, and thereafter in post graduation, I wanted to work on Indian languages.
Okay.
So I took linguistics, MA linguistics, and linguistics is a scientific study of languages.
Yes. Yes.
And linguistics is a very big domain. So, like applied linguistics. Applied linguistics deals with language teaching.
Ha.
And then there is a neurolinguistics,
Yes.
psycholinguistics.
Yes.
But I am actually a field linguist.
Ha.
So field linguists are those people who work on grammar on any language.
Yes.
So why field linguists? Because we go to a field and we record things,
Yes.
okay? And then we decipher the grammar out of it, the sounds out of it. First we work on sounds, then the structure of words, then the sentences. So in PhD, I have worked on Thai language, which is so different. I am Bengali.
Yes. Yes.
And Thai language is a tonal language,
Oh.
okay, like Chinese.
Ha.
So when I went to, it's a very interesting story, when I went to the native speaker, telling them, asking them like, what is this tonal language? Can you just explain to me? They said, it is as simple as this. It is, the tones are like this. Sung,
Okay.
pam, hat, kun, lum,
Oh.
patta.
Okay.
I said, what is this?
Now.
Now, now I know. Sung, tam, hat is, there are 3 level tones.
Oh.
High, middle, and then lower.
Okay. Okay.
And then there's a rising tone.
Okay.
Kun and lung is falling tone.
Oh. Okay.
Now, the native speakers cannot explain to me the tones. I mean, I cannot understand. I mean, they cannot train me. So I studied Chinese. This is the reason why I studied Mandarin.
Okay.
So while I was doing my MPhil in Delhi University, I also did a course, certificate course in Mandarin.
Okay. Okay.
because this is like Chinese, a tonal language.
Yes.
So if they say ma, it's something else. If they say ma, it's something else.
Oh, the meaning changes.
The meaning changes, the tone changes.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So.
But your education was in English medium, or Assamese?
No, I studied in a convent school in
English
Assam.
medium. Okay.
English medium school.
So you started writing also, creative writing was in English only. You started basically with English.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I should have also studied Bangla literature. Oh. That would have enriched my mind,
Yes,
It's very important to study vernacular along with the language of education, English.
Yes.
That helps a lot. But in our convent school, we had one subject that is easy Bengali.
Mm-hmm.
And that easy Bengali was not enough, to motivate me to read Bangla literature, Bangla stories, Bangla poems. So it's all English I have studied.
Oh.
Okay, it's like I can express in English. Now, what happens, I realized as a linguist that if a person doesn't have readings in literature, like Bangla literature, the vernacular literature, they are not able to give a speech properly.
Right.
So when I became a general secretary, in this Durgottsav Samiti, Durga Puja, we have Durga Puja. I was asked to give a speech in Bangla. I said, because I keep giving speeches and I am very, happy about it.
Yes.
I'm interested in giving speeches. I wanted to take place in a proper way. I said, Bangla, I cannot do it. I cannot do justice. Let me do in English. So I gave a speech in English and they were a little offended. So it is very important that, one should have touch of both vernacular as well as the language of education. That is very important. I didn't have that.
And you have studied so many languages. I was really impressed.
No, not that. French, because for a linguist, it is not difficult to learn language because we work on various languages.
Yes.
Now, as I said, I worked on Thai language, Thai Khamti. Okay, it is so different. I did a complete documentation on that language for my PhD thesis. I have also worked on Nokte, Khappa, Tutsa, so many other languages of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, I'm interested to work on lesser known languages. Okay, that people did not work on. Otherwise, where is the challenge? See?
Yes.
Why should I work on Bangla? There's so many people have already done. Lot of work.
Yes.
So it is not difficult. In French, French is a very beautiful language.
Yes.
Chinese is a problem. Why I'm telling you? Chinese is again a very beautiful language.
Mm-hmm.
It's again a tonal, like sing-song language. Okay, like ni hao. Okay, ni hao means how are you?
Oh.
So one can say like mi shanti hao ma. Okay, how is your health? Shanti. Mi shanti hao ma. Okay. Yes, is a thank you word.
Oh.
This is such a beautiful language, but the problem is we have to practice characters.
Oh.
Which takes away a lot of time. Like every day you have to practice characters.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm a linguist. Why will I spend my whole day, practicing characters?
Right.
And his characters. So I could not continue. But when I because I'm interested in languages, while I was doing my PhD, I took admission in Alliance Française, the Delhi, where I studied French. French has no such problem. Okay, it's a beautiful language again. All languages are beautiful and unique. And so I started writing poems in French.
In French, yes.
Yeah. So that was my first poem, which I recited in a place. Okay. In fact, I was not asked to recite a poem. I was invited.
Oh.
But all poets, they love to share their creative things, creative space.
Okay.
So I requested the organizer. He was Mr. Shubhimol Bhattacharjee. I requested him that please allow me, brother, to recite a poem.
Okay.
I want to recite a poem in French, but I will be explaining in English. They said, okay. So when I recited that poem, the eminent poets who were sitting on the dais, there they selected me.
Wow.
And this is the way. This way I got into the literary domain.
So in how many languages have you written poems?
No, I have only done in French. Only done
Okay,
in
okay.
French.
Okay, okay.
Only done in French, not other languages. I have done so many grammars. Okay,
Okay.
I worked on grammars on many languages, and I'm actually a hardcore linguist, not a writer.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
only a passionate writer.
No, but after reading so many languages, you must have like understood that every language has a rich literature, isn't it?
Yeah,
And every
see,
Indian language and even the Chinese and every language has like it's rich, isn't it?
yes,
Because it has its own culture and so many
yes,
things are. Yes,
yes,
and yeah, and when you are talking about lesser known languages, we have so much of wealth in every culture, every
yes,
language. So
right.
if you don't work on the languages, all this wealth will be gone, isn't it?
Indigenous
All
knowledge.
these indigenous, yes,
Yeah,
indigenous
yes,
knowledge.
yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
So you're
It
doing a
has
great
to be.
job. Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know what, Dr.
Huh,
Manjushri?
huh,
This if this indigenous knowledge is not saved,
huh,
we
huh.
cannot uh, preserve the biodiversity.
Yes, yes,
So the lesser known languages which I worked on, these are mostly oral. This is not
yes,
written
yes.
down.
They don't have scripts.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
Thai they do have script, but
Okay.
they have started doing. But there are many other languages like Shedukpen.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Shedukpen, which is spoken in West Kameng district. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's all oral. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Nokte, Tutsa, Kappa, all oral,
Oh. Oh.
all oral. Okay, but they do have chantings and so many other things. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they have indigenous knowledge, but all in the oral literature. This has to be written down.
Yes.
So it is so important. That's why during this Corona,
Mm-hmm.
I made in some 9, 10 lesser known languages Corona information flyers.
Okay.
Okay, to popular both things. One is their language,
Mm-hmm.
huh? And then the information.
Okay.
So I made Corona information flyers.
Huh.
Okay, say similar thing for all languages, some 9, 10 languages, lesser known,
Huh. Huh.
and distributed among the society.
Okay.
This
But
way
were
I
they
did.
able to understand?
Yeah, it's all in Roman script. That's what I'm saying because
Okay,
they
okay.
don't have this.
Oh, acha, acha. Okay, okay. Uh-huh.
Now, there are certain languages like Wancho, which is again
Mm-hmm.
spoken in Tirap district of Arunachal Pradesh.
Mm-hmm.
Wancho, they have now they have prepared a script recently,
Mm-hmm.
very recently.
Mm-hmm.
But the two scripts are going hand in hand. One is Roman, and the
Huh.
other is their Wancho script.
Oh, okay.
So this is their situation. Okay, now what happens? They take the language of the dominant linguistic community.
Uh-huh.
Like those communities which are bordering Assam,
Huh.
for them, the dominant language will be Assamese.
Yes.
So this
Uh-huh.
is what is happening. There were so many Thai varieties in Arunachal Pradesh, I mean in
Huh.
India.
Yes.
Many Thai varieties are absorbed into Assamese. They've forgotten their language and they are speaking Assamese. But this particular Thai variety, which I have worked on, this Thai Khamti, these people are concentrated in one place.
Okay.
So they have somehow retained their language.
Oh.
Okay, that's why to preserve that language, I did a documentation. I have also worked on folk tales.
Okay.
So these are all oral, like I've recorded, decoded it, okay, and then written both in Roman as well as in their script. That was a hard
Oh.
work, and
Oh.
submitted to Sahitya Academy Delhi to preserve that.
But all this seems very interesting, very
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
Yes, and have you come across something like you've been working on so many languages? So have you come across something like while working on these lesser known languages? So do you feel, oh, I've got this information. This was not there in any language.
Yes,
So you
yes.
must have come to know so many things which are there in
Yeah,
other languages. So can you share
yes.
one thing which you feel, oh, just because I know this language, I came to get this information?
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
the topographical dexes. You know
Uh-huh.
what? Because some languages are residing in the Himalayan ranges.
Huh?
So the languages, the trans-Himalayan languages,
Huh?
they are using a grammatical feature which is called deictic, topographical deixis, which
Huh?
actually talks about where you are. Either you are in the upside, like in the ascending, or in the descending order. like
Yes.
uphill or downhill. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, there's a go verb.
Uh-huh.
Now, go verb, they have one go which is
Mm-hmm.
without any basic markers, like which doesn't talk about uphill or downhill, a
Okay.
plain go.
Oh,
Then
okay.
there is another go verb which actually talks about up.
Okay. Okay.
Another go verb which talks about downhill.
Okay. Okay.
And then there's another go verb which talks about plane, horizontal plane.
Okay. Okay.
Four go verbs. Okay.
Very nice.
Now,
Very interesting.
when they will say simple sentence, I will go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this school is located uphill.
Ha-ha.
The go verb they are using
Ha-ha.
would be the uphill one.
Yeah.
Now, if they say that I am going to the school and the school is located downhill, they will
Oh,
use that go downhill word.
yes, yes.
Go verb.
Very interesting. Yes,
There are
very
two go
interesting.
verbs.
Ha-ha-ha.
See,
Very
there's a
nice.
grammatical feature already, which is so different.
Yes,
Topographical
yes,
dictation.
yes. Wow. Very interesting.
And you know what? Even we also have in Hindi this,
Uh-huh.
the word sit.
Yes.
Sit is actually an auxiliary verb.
Uh-huh.
जैसे
Okay.
मैं बैठा दिल्ली में बैठा. I
Hmm.
live in Delhi, ना मैं दिल्ली
Uh-huh.
में बैठा. So there, this hey in Hindi,
Huh.
what is that word? How you make a sentence with hey? Hey is a auxiliary verb. Like
Uh-huh.
वो यहाँ पर रहता है, वो दिल्ली में रहता है ना?
Huh. Huh.
Hey is an auxiliary verb.
Yes.
So this auxiliary verb what they are using is a content verb,
Okay.
actually,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
sit.
Okay.
So their verb is sit. So sit is actually the auxiliary verb.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah, this is in many languages.
Oh, yes.
Sit is
Yes.
actually sit or live.
Okay. Okay.
Sit or live or stay. These are all used as auxiliary verbs.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yes. So you've been staying in Assam, or when did you shift to
No,
Delhi?
actually, my husband, he's working under the Ministry of Defense in
Okay.
Border Roads Organization.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So presently he's posted in Tezpur, so I'm here.
Okay.
Otherwise, I hail from Assam,
Wow.
southern part of Assam, Silchar.
Wow. That is, Assam is also very beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my native place.
Uh-huh.
Because of the humid climate, I suffered a lot.
Yes.
Delhi is okay for me. Okay.
Oh.
Dry weather suits me. But Northeast, I always love Northeast.
Yes, yes.
Because I hail from Northeast.
Yes, yes.
But Delhi suits me.
Yeah. So your education basically was school education was in Assam, and then college, you did your PhD from JNU.
Actually, the interesting thing is, I started my education in Delhi.
Oh,
and then completed my education again in Delhi.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But does the Assamese culture, does it reflect in your writing? Whatever writing you do, I know you are mainly a linguist, but whatever writing you do, does the Assamese culture reflect in your writing?
My writings actually reflect whatever I start saying, if you allow me, it's all about my life. That's why I say, today the young writers will understand it is so interesting to write. Anybody can start writing at any point of time.
Yes. When you talk about yourself, when you talk about your life, it becomes interesting because you know about yourself.
So my writings are all, that's why it's all creative non-fiction, ma'am.
Yes.
It's all autobiographical.
Yes.
It's all based on my life. Whatever I say, If you tell me, okay, the Serbian embassy, they told me to, no, not the Serbian embassy, the organization actually told me to recite a poem in the Serbian embassy.
Mm-hmm.
So the poem which I recited there, that was black and white.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That also talks about my philosophy, the kind of person I am. So if I say this, if you allow me, it is the wiggle amidst black and white. While I sit back and ponder on the vicissitudes of scenes and sights, the hazardous terrain, the twined trail, the misty wilderness, and the undulating plain. The undulating, of course, sounds. That's not it. Okay. I remain steadfast as I set my goal. I often tumble, feel withered, albeit never fade to rewind and recast. Each labored pent, ages I fight, sundry hurdles I surmount, day and night. The melody does not demean my might. I fathom, amidst the vigor, a streak of sunlight. It is quiver and shake of veracity and faith, of the times, wet and dry, doomed and divine. But the light within always shines.
Yes. The light has to shine. Yeah, you're from Assam, Northeast. You get so much of sunlight. It's full of hope and vigor. And a person like you who has like suffered so many difficulties. So I think we can expect this poem from you. Yeah. But who is the motivating? Who is your motivating force in life?
So many people. My parents, my husband. My husband, I met him in my teens. Okay. And he had always been motivating me till today. First, my parents, of course. You know, like, because I did not lead a normal life. They did not know whether I'll be able to, you know, complete my class 10 exam.
Yes.
Okay, because I was not even able to go to school regularly. My motivating forces are also my teachers. Okay.
Yes.
My teachers are fantastic, wonderful. They have always motivated me in school. Okay. My music teacher, my school teachers, my college teachers, university, till university, all my teachers are motivating force. So I think I'm blessed. Yeah.
So you did not lead an outdoor life as such, sports and all, because you are the problems you are telling me.
You know what? So, in school, despite I was not able to go to school, as I said, I was I was not able to go to school regularly. So and yet it is difficult to believe I did march past.
Oh.
Okay, I participated in that. I did Naga dance. Oh. Okay.
Very interesting.
So yeah, I did it. I did it with great difficulty, but I did it. Okay. Otherwise, what you are asking actually? Going outdoors means
outdoor. Yeah, you said like you have that asthmatic problem, but still, you know, when you go out in fresh air, it is you must be enjoying fresh air, isn't it?
Of course. Like
those
as
sports.
I said, yes. Because I used to move. We had to go because I was staying in southern part of Assam, Silchar. My father was staying in Jorhat, that is Upper Assam.
Okay.
Okay. He was a chief scientist in Assam Agriculture University, which is in Upper Assam, Jorhat. And he used to stay in a research station because he was a scientist. In vacation, we used to go there. We used to travel, you know. And then for my this cornea opacity problem, I also had to go to Delhi several times.
Okay.
For my treatment. So I had to go mostly for my treatment or to meet my father.
Yes, Dr. Bishakha, you were telling me that you have been working as an administrator of the Asian Literary Society.
Yeah.
So can you share some of the experiences?
Yes, that's very interesting. That again comes to that black and white. Okay. That Serbian embassy. In the Serbian embassy, when I recited the poem, there were so many poets, like from very many literary societies in Delhi. Okay, like they were invited. From there, the founder of Asian Literary Society, Mr. Manoj Krishnan, he invited me first to become a member.
Oh.
Okay. So after I became a member, I started participating in their weekly poetry contest. It's very interesting. Okay, that's online. It started as an popular online group, Asian Literary Society.
Okay.
So I started participating in that poetry contest and winning prizes. Okay. Somehow they liked me. And then the founder, Mr. Manoj Krishnan, he told me that why don't you become an administrator of our society?
Okay.
So this way I said that, no, I am not a literary person. I am like a hardcore academician, you know. I just write. He said, no, you better come to this society. It would be very good. And this way I came in and now I'm growing literally, you know, staying in the literary domain when you're working to grow actually. You get to do things, you know things, like we do a lot of literary programs. Okay. And then a couple of months back, I did a program in promoting art, literature, and culture of Assam, Assamese. We have a Bhasha program.
Okay.
So this time the chapter was Assamese. So I had to contact all the writers and poets of Assam, Assamese writers and poets. So they gave, it was all online. They gave us videos of those poems, etc. And then we had panel discussion.
Okay.
So when you sit with the writers who are, Sahitya Academy awardees, you get to know so many things.
Yes.
Art historian, writers, poets. I'm sitting constantly talking with them, doing panel discussions. This is what I'm doing.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to know, like right now we've had this new education policy. So, like people are talking about like education in mother tongue, at least till the primary level.
Yes.
Like you've been reading so much and you've been working on different languages. So, do you agree that when a person is educated in his mother tongue, so do you think that is like he understands the concepts better?
Yes.
Because in India, in India, most of the education nowadays is in English. So what do you think, that should they be educated in the mother tongue?
Look, why I'm saying, because we are having a multilingual setup. Now, this is one domain where we are talking, and home is one domain where we are talking in Bangla. We are going out, like I'm in a different setup. I'm going out talking in Hindi. Okay, and then to the university, I'm talking in English.
Yeah.
To the shops, I'm talking in Assamese. It is so important that at least we should know our mother tongue, the Indian languages. And mother tongue is a must.
Yes.
Because this way, we get enriched.
Yes.
In our ideas also.
Yes.
So that's what in the beginning I said, that had I some exposure in this Bangla literature, my language would have been much better.
Yes.
It is very important, both content-wise and then language-wise.
Okay.
It's very important. You know what? When I was talking about this indigenous knowledge, when I worked on this Thai Khamti, because of their habitat, they have so many medicines. Now, this medicine name, that's the mother tongue language I'm talking about. The medicine name is in their mother tongue. It doesn't have an equivalent English word.
Oh, yes.
And so the knowledge is stored there itself, in that name.
Right.
If I take a simple example, a word, for instance. Then there are various bamboo, okay, medicinal plants, so many other things, okay, which is only stored in these words.
Yes.
So if we don't know mother tongue, we are missing many things. It is very important. Otherwise, also for the enrichment.
Right. Yes. But have you taught anywhere in any institution? Like you've worked on languages, but have you taught in any institution? Have you taught languages or?
No, I have. I've been the conferences where I have gone. There, I am always invited to talk on languages.
Okay, but not any in colleges and
I did not
university.
I did not go for this any job. Because I was staying alone with my son in Delhi.
Okay.
My husband was somewhere else. So I thought I better take research life and not teaching life, because that would be difficult. It would be problematic.
Yes. Okay.
So I continued with my research life. So like my husband used to come to Delhi, used to stay with my son, and then I used to go for field work.
Okay.
So I took only research life and not the teaching life.
Okay.
So that I can keep on working on lesser known languages.
Yes.
This way I went to many places. I was Thailand, Singapore.
Yes.
For this languages.
Yeah.
But I did not teach anywhere. Okay. Only in conferences I have talked about the languages.
Okay. Yeah.
Various languages.
Yeah, it must have been really fascinating listening to you in the conferences and seminars, because like
Yeah,
this
yes,
type
yes,
of, yeah, this is a very
yeah,
interesting information you get
sure.
from different languages. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to talk to you at length also. Yes,
I have
because
also
it,
worked on scripts.
huh.
I have also worked on scripts or various languages. Again, the lesser known languages.
Oh, yes,
Uh,
very interesting, very
yeah.
nice. Yeah. And now we'll talk about your interest in Mohanveena. Yes, you've been,
Oh,
yeah, trained in Mohanveena. So do you even play it now, or
yeah.
do you
No,
play
no.
it now?
Actually, actually, this music started in my childhood
Huh?
because although I was having a very difficult life,
Yeah.
I had interest in music. It
Yes.
is a very common thing in Bengali
Yes.
families.
Yeah. Everybody like in the
Yeah,
home. Yeah. Huh.
yeah, it's always there. My
Yes.
father was also a very good flute player.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, and he used to sing very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to sing actually, but
Okay.
because it was not possible for me, my
Uh-huh.
mother told that I will, you will go to a school of Hawaiian guitar.
Oh.
So I started with Hawaiian guitar.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
and then when I came to Delhi
Huh?
uh, in 2002,
Mm-hmm.
2003, 4, I think.
Uh-huh.
In 2008, 9, probably I wanted to learn a classical guitar. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wrote a letter to Guru Pandit Vishwa Mohan Bhatt, who is a
Mm-hmm.
Grammy Award winner. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I purchased my Mohan Veena from Guruji,
Okay.
Guruji Pandit
Huh.
Vishwa Mohan Bhatt.
Huh.
Okay, then that's why the name is Mohan Veena, okay, Vishwa Mohan Bhatt. Okay, so this way I started learning classical guitar, which is like Hawaiian guitar,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But then
Uh-huh.
there are more strings and tarab.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Hmm. But Guru Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt did not have enough time because he's a great maestro. He doesn't have much time to teach. Only sometimes he used to teach us. So I took admission in Ravi Shankar Institute of Music and Performing Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And, I also played before great Guruji, Pandit Ravi
Acha.
Shankar ji.
Oh my God. Really?
Because
Uh-huh.
that's his home, actually, that I have learned.
Yes.
So I have learned classical guitar from Pandit Barun Kumar Pal,
Oh.
who used to teach in this Ravi Shankar Institute. Okay,
Wow.
I play, but sometimes, when I'm so much engaged with my academics, I
Uh-huh.
remain very busy with academics. Then my practice becomes less. In the Mohan Veena, it is very important to do, any instrument. It is very important to do practice. And I have seen, Dr. Manjushri, there are no shortcuts.
Yes, yes, yes. That
Whether
is
it's
what we tell
academics
students. Yes,
or
yes.
music, there are no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
If you take
Yes,
shortcuts, the gaps could be seen.
yes, definitely.
There are
We
no
really
shortcuts.
enjoyed. We are now geared up, yeah, like you are full of enthusiasm, full of life force, and which is transmitted, and yeah, and fighting against all odds, You have really done a wonderful job. You are doing so much of research, and it's going to be helpful for everyone, So it's a wonderful job which you are
Yeah,
doing. It was really,
yeah,
yeah, enthusiastic. Yeah, you are
yeah.
full of life force. You are so full of enthusiasm. Still, you have so much of energy. You want to do so many things that is reflected from your personality,
Yeah, I was right mode.
Yeah.
Impetless Publishing House,
Huh?
is something great. Made me a
Oh,
writer. Oh
yes.
my
Yesterday
God.
we had Meena Mishra with us.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
So,
Fantastic.
yes. So, friends, this is the enthusiastic personality, Dr. Bishakha Das. And it is indeed a proud privilege for us to learn prose writing, focusing especially on non-fiction. So, over to Dr. Bishakha.
Yeah,
Yes, you
thank you.
can start
Yes,
your. Yeah.
yes. First slide. Can you see this? First, I will say something about poetry,
Yes.
and then I will go to prose,
Huh.
starting with greetings. Okay.
Wow. Yes.
Can it be seen?
Yes,
Can you
yes. It's
see?
visible.
Okay.
Yes.
So, young friends, greetings to all of you. So, I start with greetings. Okay. Uh, Greetings to all, dear all. May this year bring lots of happiness, peace, and contentment. May all seasons embolden your spirit, and each day may you find a reason to celebrate and relish. May you have enough strength and wisdom to face challenges overcome hurdles, accept the state of impermanence, and oust the boredom. Let us all be together and never forget to rejoice and chatter and sing in unison a very happy new year. Okay.
Wow.
Friends.
So we are going to have a new year also. So
Yeah.
apt poem. Yeah.
Friends. So when I was conducting a poetry session, I thought of talking about what is poetry. Now, because we are coming to prose, so let us say a little bit about what is poetry, how I think. This is all prosaic, actually, what I write. Oft I wonder how these picturesque notions kindle. These weave a harmony and bear a jingle. And act as memoirs, lest they would dwindle. Deep within, myriad musings, bit by bit, we store. Some are heartening, some are amorous, while others are exquisite lore. Whether prose or poetry, a composition is a work of art, a blend of philosophy and expression, posed in a clause or a verse. Yet, the cadence of one being enduring, the other is tough, a piece embellished with imagery, alliteration, metaphor, and simile. At times, these are lyrics to be braided with mellifluous melody. How it blossoms from within the core, marks the poetic skill, caution, imprudence in choice of words seems run of the mill. Yet, the freedom of expression dwells in immeasurable space. A poet indulges in the affluence of fantasy. A poet indulges in the affluence of fantasy while trussing her syntactic lace.
Yeah.
What a beautiful piece of art to be graced on a stage. While a spectator muses over, a poet's fervor finds the surface. The joy of pouring out is in abundance. In the literary realm, a poet shows palpable predominance. This is why I come to say prose, and yet I could not stop, reciting my poem.
No, it's beautiful. Wonderful.
Yeah. Just a minute. So, this one, should I say, or should I start with the prose?
No, you can read.
Okay. So this is very interesting. Why? Because this is a French and mixture of French and English. Okay. So I have now that I have defined poetry, I have an interest of defining things. Okay. Now this is what is love. So can you see the screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Sorry, not this one. Just a minute. Yes. Okay. This is what is love. Okay. So in French, I start in French and then I do in English also. Est-ce que vous connaissez l'entité qui entre sans frapper à la porte et s'installe à votre écart au silence? Do you know the entity who disembarks without knocking the door and settles down your undemanding heart and bewitches you till the core? Okay. Do you know the entity who disembarks without knocking the door and settles down your undemanding heart and bewitches you till the core? C'est bizarre, that's strange. How heedless and casual be the brain of the bewilderment that rests in its emotional frame. The brain enquires its depths. Thou appear dejected, and thy face so pale, it seems thy vision is on wait for a response that might decide thy fate. The brain unfurls more. to fathom the nub of the soul. And here he goes. So here it goes. Como ça? Les frères du matin, le soleil brillant, la claire calme de la lune, le vent, les verdures, toute la beauté de la nature, not to pénétrer les pores de sa sensation. So in English, neither the fresh morning aura, nor the brilliant sun, the serene moon, neither the wind nor the verdures penetrates thy sensation or fondle thy soul. Do you know the entity who disembarks without knocking the door, settles down your undemanding heart and bewitches you till the core? The soul says, now the soul says, my intellectual part can identify and weigh. My intellectual part can identify and weigh, is it an expression of rage or passion, of being delight or dismay? So why is this abnormal thing happening? Now the answer comes. It is a beautiful manifestation and not a furor. It is a beautiful manifestation and not a furor. The brain assures, but of reverence and admiration, the experience for another soul.
Wow.
So what is love? Love is a beautiful manifestation.
Yes.
Reverence and admiration, the experience for another soul.
Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Now the next slide comes to the prose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yes.
So my young viewers, it's understanding creative writing in prose. Man is born with a creative faculty. We see creativity everywhere, on the walls, on the ceilings, in the drawing rooms, in the lawns, in a coffee cup, on the bed sheets, the sweaters and dresses we attire, and vocal and instrumental music, the painting. Oh, yes, and in creative writing. Now, what is creative writing? The two basic features of creative writing are words and imagination. The genesis of creative writing can be traced in words. A good writer is essentially equipped with word power. And two can be, in creative writing, imagination plays a central role in crafting a literary piece, whether it is stories, plays, poems, or prose. Let us read. E.M. Forster writes in Does Culture Matter? Culture is a forbidding word. I have to use it, knowing of none better to describe the various beautiful and interesting objects which men have made in the past and handed down to us, and which some of us are hoping to hand on. Many people despise them. They argue with force that cultural stuff takes up a great deal of room and time and had better be scrapped. And they appear with less force that we live in a world which has been wiped clean by science and cannot profit by tradition. Okay. Creativity consists largely of rearranging what we know in order to find out what we do not know. I repeat, creativity consists largely of rearranging what we know in order to find out what we do not know. Hence, to think creatively, we must be able to look afresh at what we normally take for granted. Okay. Thus, creative writing means being subjective and not universal. Creative writing means being sensitive to life and surroundings. So we express our ideas based on or influenced by our personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. Creative writing means being dynamic. This means ideas take divergent paths. Our comprehension leads to expression in diverse ways, as contrary to one logical solution to an arithmetical problem. Since creative writing may be understood by the much used words lateral thinking and fluid intelligence. To think creatively, to look at things from unique perspectives. This again means a writer may have diverse ways of looking into things. So let's take some examples. Okay. Now for an anthology, okay, entitled Living with an Empty Wallet. Now this wallet is a metaphor for life. Living with an empty wallet. Okay. So for this anthology, one writer thinks of two different quotes. Okay. You can also think, my young friends. One quote is, a life with an empty wallet seeks for contentment. The void manifests the seeming merriment. So seeming merriment is the apparent happiness. Okay. Another one is, a voidness in life is like a cosmetic face devoid of natural makeup base. Now, another writer writes, Rodman DeSouza, emptiness is an opportunity to refresh, rejuvenate, to renew, to never lose hope and faith, to begin again. Pushpanjali Ajit Patil writes, completeness is a myth. Happiness is an illusion. Love is half truth, and emptiness is a reality of human life. Sujata Santhanam says, not everyone hides their harsh realities behind the veil. Some choose to smile. Now, the editor of the anthology, Subhasagar, writes, life is as full as you make it, as rich as you feel it. You just need to fill it with love and light. And all that exists in the universe, this is so beautiful and bright. You can also think, and if you want to say, you can just write it down. Now, let's see, product of creative writing. Creative writing demands appropriateness to the theme, originality of ideas. To certain minds, originality is important, both in art and literature, as different from other domains like law, medicine, engineering, etc. It is difficult, friends, it is difficult to gauge appropriateness of expression on a particular theme. For comprehension or interpretation of an idea varies from writer to writer. To be creative still requires appropriateness, somewhat appropriateness along with originality. Now, in creative writing, there's a measure required for both interpretation of the theme or subject and innovation of the content. The writer, in many cases, might need to interpret what has been written before. Okay. So interpretation in this case does not mean being unoriginal, being derivative. Here it implies intimate knowledge of other works. Now this brings us to two more features, interpretation and innovation. It is said in literature that there's a continuum of creativity which actually stretches from interpretation to innovation in both art and literature. Now let us read this one. speech or oration, which manifests the narrative style and literary devices. Now, this is the Gettysburg Address. It's a speech that US President Abraham Lincoln delivered during the American Civil War at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, which is in Pennsylvania, on November 19, 1863, which is 4.5 months after the Union armies defeated those of the Confederacy at the Battle of Gettysburg. And it is one of the best known speeches in history. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we were highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Friends, tests of creativity may be measured on fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration. If there are more points, please do add and let me know. Now, I was just thinking, this is another question for you, young friends. What incites a person to write? I asked a nonfiction writer, Nobamaluti Chakraborty, that what incites her to write? And she said, the urge, the spontaneous desire, the mesmeric nature of creativity. I asked Niti Chawla Parthy, an editor writer, what incites her to write? And she says, writing is a journey of introspection. It challenges one to visit and revisit one's life and its experiences. Every writer leaves or shares a part of himself or herself in the written word. Writing also widens one's own horizons. It pushes one's personal boundaries. I asked another poet and a story writer, Debendra Sahu, what does he think? And he said, when I see the blue sky, dark clouds, flowing fountains, flowery garden, a flying bird, an old man, a dead body, a lone but long road, a tall mountain, a wavy sea, butterflies, in fact, everything that touches my inner core, even a death, a rape, a birth. When I look around, and if it touches me, I sit down writing. So friends, while a writer reflects on her experiences, she frames it with her pen. Or when a writer is affected by a natural beauty, hurt by an adversity or any calamity, etc., one might capture the happiness or brood over the pain through writing. But I think a bigger part of writing comes probably from being inspired. Now, broadly, the genres of creative writing may be divided into fiction and non-fiction. subgenre of nonfiction can be creative nonfiction. Now, fiction is that aspect of literature where we dwell in the realm of our imagination, which takes us back, fiction takes us back to those stories which used to bring a lot of joy in our childhood days. Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, etc. Ever since J.K. Rowling's fantasy series Harry Potter set foot in the literature, children's fiction strayed or deviated from fairies, giants, pixies, dwarfs, the realm of magic. And then there were other short stories for little elders like Robinson Crusoe, Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, adventure series books like Famous Five, Ruskin Bond, Mulberry Days, and so on and so forth. And you will have a long list, I'm sure. Now, works of fiction are those that tell made-up stories, as opposed to the many genres of nonfiction like biography, autobiography, philosophy, history, essays, and others. So fiction is defined by its focus on narratives invented by the author. Now let's see some subgenres of fiction books. It can be romance, like Wuthering Heights of Emily Bronte, love story, Eric Segal, Mills and Boons. It can be crime fiction of Agatha Christie, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Earl Stanley Gardner, etc. Science fiction, A.G. Wells, Jules Verne, Isaac Asimov, and so on and so forth. It can be fantasy, realm of magic, like The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter series. Now, there's also in fiction, which is something in between, essay and historical fiction. Essay, like I selected, Dream Children, A Reverie by Charles Lamb, and historical fiction like Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie, and Roots, The Saga of an American Family by Alex Haley. Now, these two subgenres, essay and historical fiction, are something in between. This is because these exhibit fictional narratives with an autobiographical grounding. Now, essays are non-fiction writing. Dream Children is a unique essay. Here, the author blurs genre lines between essay and fiction. Lamb in many of his essays, is known to gently fictionalize his real life by using pseudonyms for himself and his sister, or using the dream in Dream Children, A Reverie to reflect on his actual lived experiences as a lifelong bachelor. In this essay, Dream Children, the writer reflects nostalgically on his childhood days and also highlights the transient nature of life, the themes of loss and regret, while describing the death of his beloved brother and great-grandmother. So it is very autobiographical. Now, this historical fiction also, Midnight's Children, the story is set in historical setting with historical grounding within the constraints of which a fictional narrative is constructed. Now, this Roots, The Saga of an American Family, this tells the story of Kunta Kinte, a young man taken from Gambia and sold as a slave, and the succeeding tales of 7 generations of his descendants, one of whom includes the author himself. Okay. Now, friends, let us try to understand what is nonfiction from a writer's prism. Alex Haley says in his acknowledgement of his novel Roots, The Saga of an American Family, he says, the griots. Now, this griots mean the West African historian, storyteller, praise singer, poet, or musician. Okay. Now, the griots symbolize how all human ancestry goes back to some place and some time where there was no writing. Okay. Then the memories in the mouths of ancient elders was the only way that early histories of mankind got passed along for all of us today to know who we are. So this is about real life. Hence, I said it's moving towards nonfiction. So, friends, creative nonfiction writings are informative, factual, and true stories. You can also add if you have any other points. Now, let's see the subgenres of nonfiction. It can be prose, essays, on any subject for that matter, science, art, music, etc. Biography, autobiography, memoirs. Now, these are like personal essays. Autobiographies and memoirs are like personal essays, which is written by the person himself. And biographies are written in third person about someone, which can be during his lifetime or after death. And then travelogues, which are also like memoirs, where the writer narrates his personal experiences of traveling. And then journalism, which is a broad subgenre of nonfiction, which we come across every day in newspapers, magazines, journals, TV news, reports, and more. There are also nonfiction humor books, which I've seen listed in Goodreads. Now, in this kind of creative nonfiction, the author reflects on real world events. You can read it, friends. Let's again try to understand what is nonfiction from a writer's prism. V.S. Naipaul writes in the introduction to A Writer's People, all my life, I have had to think about ways of looking. All my life, I have had to think about ways of looking and how they alter the configuration of the world. To this quote, David Rice, in his review in New York Times, writes that on what other basis can a novelist invent convincing characters? Or on what other basis a non-fiction writer fairly represent divergent opinions and points of view? So this actually tells us how to look into things, the divergent ways. The focus is prose, friends, and particularly creative nonfiction. That's very interesting. And you can write it any day. You can start from today itself. It's as simple as that. Creative nonfiction, to tell you a little bit about creative nonfiction, this refers to a subgenre of nonfiction that incorporates writing techniques similar to literary fiction. Now, creative nonfiction writing tends to have an engaging story-centric format that emphasizes narrative over a list of facts. This makes creative nonfiction different from other types of books associated with the nonfiction genre, like the academic textbooks. Okay, now again, let us read Francis Bacon's Essays of Truth. What is truth? Suggesting belief, and would not stay for an answer. Certainly there be that delight in giddiness and count it a bondage to fix a belief, affecting free will and thinking as well as in acting. This is little archaic. Truth may perhaps come to the price of a pearl that showeth best by day, but it will not rise to the price of a diamond or carbuncle that showeth best in varied lights. A mixture of a lie, you will agree to me, friends. A mixture of a lie doth ever add pleasure. A mixture of a lie doth ever add pleasure. Doth any man doubt that if there were taken out of men's minds vain opinions, flattering hopes, false valuations, imaginations as one would and the like, but it would leave the minds of a number of men poor shrunken things full of melancholy and indisposition, and unpleasing to themselves? So Bacon says, it is this pleasure when the truth is mixed with a little bit of lies. Okay. As simple as this. Now this one is obituary. It's very nicely, very simple way of writing prose, friends. Obituary by Christopher Buckley. Now how he writes, see, so simple. We were friends for more than 30 years, which is a long time. But now that he is gone, seems not nearly long enough. I was rather nervous when I first met him one night in London in 1977, along with his great friend Martin Amis. I had read his journalism and was already in awe of his brilliance and wit, and couldn't think what on earth I could bring to his table. I don't know if he sensed the diffidence on my part. No, of course, he did. He never missed anything. But he set me instantly at ease, and so began one of the great friendships and benisons of my life. It occurs to me that benison is a word I first learned from Christopher, along with so much else. Friends, our writings, to this also you can add, my friends, our writings may be expository, persuasive, narrative, descriptive. Now, expository writings, in which the author's purpose is to inform and explain the subject to the reader. Persuasive, here the opinion of the writer, and the writer states, the writing that states the opinion of a writer and which attempts to influence the reader. Okay. Narrative, in which the author tells a story. The story could be a fact or a fiction. And descriptive, this is a type of expository writing, okay, that uses the five senses to paint a picture, like imagery and other literary devices. Descriptive. Now, what can be the features of building a prose in nonfiction? Let it be creative nonfiction. If I've missed any point, you can add here. One can be crafting a narrative. Two can be involvement of real characters, because we're talking of creative nonfiction, involvement of real characters as contrary to imaginary ones. Three can be author's presence in the events described. Four, author's personal views and experiences. Fifth can be no ornamentation, because too much of ornamentation will fade the actual color. That's the truth of the literary piece. So it says no ornamentation. But little ornamentation is possible in creative nonfiction. Yes. Now, friend, here it is. How far is creative nonfiction different from fiction? Now, I asked one of my friends, who is a creative nonfiction writer. In fact, she's going to publish a book on creative nonfiction. She is a professor in Calcutta University, Nobamaluti Chakraborty. So she told me that realism has a greater role, but we cannot rule out imagination or subjectivity. It isn't airtight and differs from writer to writer. Often these two may form the subject of nonfiction. So I believe realism is a bigger circle, but the imagination and subjectivities are also there. Now, let me read the writer's prose. Okay, here it is. Okay. She wrote, I have taken this from one of her, it's almost like writing a diary. She keeps writing in social media. So see how simple it is. How simple is creative nonfiction. The way every family has their own way of dealing with their ways and nuances, I too have my own way of traveling within the space of my mind. While stepping out at dawn on a morning walk, this morning, I braced myself for the chilly breeze with a muffler to protect the most vulnerable area of my body, that is my chest and throat. As we all have our space and silence, I find it always preferable to be alone as I walk. There are little school-going children being huddled by their mothers into the coaches that arrive in the street corner to take them to their schools. Some whine, others are cheerful, and still others, with an open book in hand, doing the last bit of academic perusing before landing in school for some exam. I watch them quietly and try to feel their disquiet minds edged on each day, each morning. They may not put a foot wrong these days, even if they tried. It is quotidian. I live with my husband, and both of us, being senior citizens, have no such morning deliberations. Yet I love to watch this morning routine and realize how difficult it is to rear children in a metro city. Today, I dwelt on my Dimapur life. So she's talking about her life in Dimapur, a Northeast. Today, I dwelt on my Dimapur life and felt so good. Every step I took on my path brought forward an inflow of serenity. Dimapur was, for me, a heavenly place where my just for life was enviable. I bore with a respectful obsequiousness at the thought of the place and the people. My friends in the college, my colleagues, were so dear to me. We were a five-family group, but between us, there reigned one heart and one soul. As I walk, I dwell on all these and look up at the cerulean morning sky, the rising sun, and the loving faces that overcrowd my mind. The morning air exhilarates as much as the memories of the past. Thanks be to God. It is as simple as that, friends. You can start writing. Let us read this one. This is very interesting. Barack Obama, in his keynote address in 2004, he delivers this keynote address in Democratic National Convention. My presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. Please follow this very carefully because there is something very important here later on to speak. My presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. My parents shared not only an improbable love, they shared an abiding faith in the possibilities of this nation. I stand here knowing that my story is part of the larger American story, that I owe a debt to all of those who came before me, and that in no other country on earth is my story even possible. Alongside our famous individualism, there is another ingredient in the American saga, a belief that we are all connected as one people. If there's a child on the south side of Chicago who can't read, that matters to me, even if it is not my child. If there's a senior citizen somewhere who can't pay for their prescription drugs and has to choose between medicine and the rent, that makes my life poor, even if it's not my grandparent. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. Even as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. Well, I say to them tonight, there is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is only the United States of America. So friends, look at this comment. Mario Cuomo, who was 3 times governor of New York, comments, Obama was born with 2 great gifts. One is his mind, and the other is his ability to speak to larger groups of people. Robert Lehrman, who was a noted speechwriter, comments, there are 3 things that Obama does that really makes that speech effective. He wants concrete detail, which is very important. He wants concrete detail. He likes story, and he loves antithesis, the use of repetition in structure to show contrast. So friends, this oration gives us an understanding of writing creative nonfiction. Let us read this one. Oration again. Jawaharlal Nehru's speech on 15th August 1947. Long years ago, we made a tryst. We made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge. not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. Friends, let's look at the literary devices. They can be simile, metaphor, synecdoche, symbolism, motif, flashback and foreshadow. This comes, I'm sure, in biographies. Allusion, personification. Actually, a literary device is a tool used by writers to hint at larger themes, ideas, and meaning in a story. It's a piece of writing. There are many styles of literary devices, and it depends on the writer and his choice for a style or a literary device. Now, each serves a different purpose. Some operate at the sentence level, while others serve the piece of writing as a whole. Now, writers often use multiple literary devices in tandem. Nonfiction may be narrative or say descriptive. These two are similar. Okay. Now, in a narrative, a writer may use metaphorical allusions or a plain phrased description. So please find out the literary devices. Now, when we talk about literary devices, look at this one, where a young writer named Ritij Sharma, who talked about metaphor. He's a student of St. Columba School, and now he's doing his graduation in Cluster Innovation Center, Delhi University. Okay. He writes metaphysical poetry and swamp rock, the finesse of forgery. How do you write a metaphor? The fashionable method seems to be sitting down by a window, looking at the rain and letting the words come to you, a moment of inspiration. Most people who have ever put pen to paper for anything more sophisticated than signing their checks will know that such moments are few and far between, and more often than not result in meaningless, illogical syllogism that only makes sense to the writer himself. Now, behind the scenes of a glazed literary world as depicted by authors' biopics, the metaphor is broadcast over sheets of paper and copious cups of coffee with much phrase, buffing and polishing and substituting. The initial moment is rarely potent enough to deliver a corporeal conceit, as the metaphysical poets called it. Now he talks about something. He talks about a song. At the dawn of the 1970s, the Southern rock band Creedence Clearwater Revival was possibly the most played artist on rock radio. Now he talks about Fogerty, who is a part of this rock band, and he writes a song where he finds metaphor. He says, Fogerty was a beach bum, rough talker, fresh out of Southern California, and his language generally reflected that. But for once, his syntax is spotless. So he talks about the song. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? On the surface, it was a simple reference to the sunny showers coming down south. At a deeper level, it was a painfully accurate metaphor for an incredibly abstract experience, the heartbreaking confusion and pain felt when the reactions of a loved one grow beyond comprehension. So he says that Fogerty hit on a phenomenon so far removed and yet so similar to his emotions, and he delivered the comparison with a structure and finesse that could rival even the astronomical concepts of John Donne, a poignant yet hard-hitting metaphor that rings through decades and generations of human relationships. Fantastic writer here is Sharma. Okay, now some non-fiction books. Friends, non-fiction books can be self-help books, can be autobiography, self-help books like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay, autobiography like The Stories of My Experiments with Truth by M.K. Gandhi, Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela, The Life of Vivekananda by Roma Rolla, Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, which is again a biography. It can be non-fiction books, can be popular science like Mind and Matter or A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. It can be history, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. It can be travelogue. I listed a few names actually. The Motorcycle Diaries, or it can be On the Road by Jack Kerouac. It can also be a humor. Is Shakespeare Dead by Mark Twain. And these are my very favorite books, And I read, I think, 2 from these, Essays and Prose. The Essays by Francis Bacon and Points of View, a selection of provocative prose edited by M. Elderton Pink. Please do read, friends, these books. Now, friends, you have to bear with me because I'll be talking on my prose. And listen, just see what literary devices I have used. I have simply written it down, friends, which you can also do. Then anthology, Yes, Boss. It is edited by S. Krishna Kumar. I have written a piece, a prose piece, which I named Whew, She's Bossy. Well, this is a little comic. Now, to talk about the little background, a commander is the head of a defense unit. Now the commander's lady wife is the first lady of the unit. Now the commander's lady wife talks to the second in command's lady wife. This is very much about my life. See, Mrs. Andrews, in a very domineering attitude, asked the second in command's lady wife, "When are you hosting a party in your house?" The second in command's lady wife says, "Ma'am, I will do it soon after I settle down in this new environment. I am here just to pay a small visit to my husband's new posting place." Commander's wife, "We are expecting an invitation from you soon as part of the protocol." The second in command's lady wife indignantly muttered, "Yes, boss." Then. Now the commander's wife, Mrs. Andrews, again, "Mrs. Sharma, there is ladies' welfare on the following weekend. You must attend the same." Mrs. Sharma, "Sure, ma'am." Mrs. Andrews, her eyes scrutinizing Mrs. Sharma's, the lady's personality, She was wearing in trousers, and that's me. So Mrs. Andrews, talking to Mrs. Sharma, "Mrs. Sharma, don't you wear saris?" Mrs. Andrews, Mrs. Sharma, "Very rarely, ma'am." Mrs. Andrews, "It is essential to wear saris in ladies' welfare." Mrs. Sharma, "But ma'am, the temperature here is -10 degrees centigrade. I brought with me trousers and salwars as I could not plan to wear saris in this climate." Mrs. Andrews curtly responds, "Why don't you buy one, Mrs. Sharma?" Mrs. Sharma, vexed deep in her heart, murmurs, "Yes, boss." Now, this piece basically discusses on an attitude rather than the entity boss. The concept of being bossy reflects on being domineering to someone without any rationale, but simply to satisfy one's narcissist bearing. This is a common demeanor, widely prevalent amidst the officers' wives. The self-entitled bosses are essentially homemakers and are more drawn in the grandiose of materialistic life. They're ambitious and highly perceptive about social status and its corresponding privileges. The officers' wives, who are working women, show flexibility in their disposition, and they altogether form a different class. The most intriguing part of the culture in certain units is known to be Commander Sir being more liberal and less bossy than Commander Madam Sa rank. The system would appear rather in order for Madam if the security salutes her with Jai Hind Saab, while she walks out majestically for attending Ladies' Welfare Association. Oh dear. The non-officer's wives, the non-officer's wife's condition becomes pitiable when the first lady of the unit is tyrannical and too ambitious to pile up the assignments on the ladies as means of training, which is differently termed as welfare. It is not at all a welfare. No one likes being dictated, nor can tolerate bossy behavior, as this does not allow them to develop a good rapport with the First Lady. Now, bossiness or being bossy is so common an attitude amidst the officer slave wise that some women might consider it as an exotic accessory. However, others also think the same attitude as substandard and being immature. This is the general code of behavior in any society that a first lady or a senior lady is always shown respect by the junior ladies. Hence, bossiness may be considered as superfluous on the part of the same entity. Various interesting anecdotes spring up from the popular gossips as prevalent in various units and departments. Women with time tend to become more realistic and liberal and do not like to sound bossy. Yet, my friends, yet the attitude continues to be seen. Some women do like being bossy. View. I don't know how much what is the time. The teacher I will never ever forget. Now, this is again another anthology edited by Shubha Sagar, a very good friend of mine. Okay, for this anthology, I have written The Motivating Force. This is so autobiographical. As I said, you can just start writing, those who did not start. I think, am I out of time?
No, you can take this one and then we'll.
Okay. So, like that, this is teachers in my life occupy a significant portion of my societal system. I share my space with them in many domains, whether on social media, in a photo gallery, a bistro, their cozy habitat, or most importantly, in my nostalgic moments. It appears that I have always walked with them, both in arduous and velvety paths. They led me to my desired course with a sense of assurance and ease, a drive which was much required for someone with health impediments. Their words and gestures did it all. I assumed myself to be readily armored with some aptitude which will set my academic ways without any scruples. I will just read this. Examinations I experienced were always the grim or trying part of the intriguing cognitive sphere named academics, and yet this has been understood to be the only yardstick to ascertain our capabilities. Contrary to the general conception, I was probably evaluated more by my competence and my enthusiasm for erudition. Okay, so last line I will read. Teachers have been a veritable boon in my life. I vaulted over my abnormal health situations and walked out with confidence along the winding course while they held me with faith and assurance until I realized my task with beaming success. The teachers, I will never ever forget. So, see, friends, one can use different kind of literary device. Here I have started in this anthology with a poem. Like each labor spent ages I fight, ages she fights, sundry hurdles she surmounts day and night, and so on and so forth. And then I started the prose. She was born with physical torments, but was vivacious from within. This is all about my life, okay? And then I colored the world green is again very different. Colored the world green, talking about the biodiversity. This is kind of synecdoche, okay? Here, this was like heritage is the invaluable wealth which is crafted by human beings. This is a very different way of writing, almost like an academic paper. And this one, living with an empty wallet, where lies our contentment? My prose was where lies our contentment, where I started with, what is this haste for? Okay, my inner mind often sets an alarm. This way, I think there's not much time, so let it be. Dating after death, here I have used the literary device motif, where I have used the word fugitive. This one here. I was a glum witness to our painful endurances when my dating with the fugitive transpired in varied modes, space, and time. I have talked about, I used the literary device flashback, where I said, a song which has been pinned in my memory since my school days manifested in its enormity quite late in my life. And this is the song which I learned in my childhood. Someday will be my going home day. someday when the Lord will call, someday the Lord will call for me. There's a day for each and all. And I completed this prose by saying that death is perpetual. I date with death whenever it encounters a life. I date when death tolls an alarm on a life. I date with death in my nostalgic ticks with my beloved ones who are frozen with time. And I do pray, oh Lord, get me ready for that call. Friends, this is important. How to develop writing skills. It is important to become a voracious reader. That actually helps. One of the pleasures and aims of reading and one of the pleasures and aims of reading is to learn something more about how to write. I see writers as researchers of their craft, experimenters who learn most from practice, but who also know and understand what other writers have done and how they operate. This is important, friends. Last one, understanding creative nonfiction. Please see how V.S. Naipaul says in his interview. It is the only noble calling. It is noble because it deals with the truth. Friends, we are talking about creative nonfiction. It is noble because it deals with the truth. You have to look for ways of dealing with your experience. You have to understand. You have to understand it, and you have to understand the world. Writing is a constant striving after a deeper understanding. That is pretty noble. Friends, let us start writing. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Should I
yes,
stop sharing?
Stop
sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Bishakha. And it was really fantastic. We all enjoyed listening to you. And you explained everything which is there in nonfiction and the literary devices. And the pieces you chose were really outstanding, really. Yeah. And yes, and with your own pieces, like I would like to read all of them if you can share with us the links so
yes,
that
I will do that.
Yes, so even our readers would like to read all your nonfiction and poems. Also, your poems are also. You say that you write nonfiction, but your poems are also like excellent. And we are like now you've given us that small this thing. So now we are interested in reading all of your writing. So please.
Oh, I'm so inspired.
Please share your this thing if you have some links or
yes, I'll do
books
that.
And
yes,
we would love to read it. And you have that this thing on your face. You are enthusiastic. You are full of force. That is what I am saying right from the beginning, and we enjoyed thoroughly. In the chat box also, I can see everybody saying excellent session, and it was really it was really very, very enlightening. At least I learned so many things, and yes, you are really very inspiring. Thank you so much. Thank you. And friends, that is what she said, that creativity involves breaking out of the expected pattern in order to look at things in a different way. The human mind cannot create anything. It produces nothing until after having been fertilized by experience and meditation. Its acquisitions are the gems of its production. The heart and soul of the company is creativity and innovation. So read, and write.
Start writing from today.
Yes, and don't fear failures, because failures are the stepping stones to success. So happy learning. And again, let me tell you, we really thoroughly enjoyed your session. Thank you so much.
All the best, viewers.
Yes, thank
God
you.
Bless.
Thank you, everyone. And let's meet tomorrow with another expert in English with another creative session. And friends, let me tell you one thing. Let me tell all the students that you have to submit a creative writing. Take any piece, write a poem, write a non-fiction, write anything, and please submit it so that we'll be able to give you the certificates. Okay? So thank you very much.